Ask someone if they've heard of Tai Chi, and more likely than not, the answer will be yes. Tai Chi is one of the major martial arts that's well known around the world, alongside karate, taekwondo, and kung fu. It's escaped the confines of its Eastern origins and made its mark on Western society. But to what extent? Tai Chi is actually short for the full name Tai Chi Chuan, not something you'd typically pick up while you're watching an action flick. Does the significance, purpose, and meaning behind Tai Chi go deeper than most people would expect? We decided to find out. Right here in Boston, there was a free class being taught by Master Cho. By experiencing this for ourselves, as well as interviewing one of his assistant instructors and a dedicated student, we made our journey into the hidden depths of Tai Chi Chuan. To get an idea of what a typical American young adult thinks or knows about Tai Chi, we invited a couple of friends along to the class. We also asked them a few questions, one of which was quite simple. Could they name the country that Tai Chi originated from?
I'd associate it more with Asian cultures in general, but
Asian culture.
So not really a specific country, just Asian in general?
Yeah.
While technically correct, that wasn't quite the answer we were looking for. Tai Chi Chuan was invented in China and has a deep connection to many aspects of Chinese culture. But that doesn't mean it's just for people of Chinese descent. Boston does have a large and well-known Chinatown, but it's also full of all sorts of other people. So our next question was, what do you think the class will be like in terms of demographics? And while we were at it, we went ahead and asked them how hard they thought the class would be.
probably full of a lot of old people.
A lot of maybe older people or sort of organic people. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Can you define organic?
More crunchy, like almost hippie, but not really because we live in the modern times.
From the looks of it, it doesn't look that hard. So, I don't know. It'd probably be kind of easy.
It's not entirely surprising that they answered the way they did. Tai Chi is well known in America as an alternative to yoga or Pilates, a form of low-impact exercise that can be practiced at a slow pace, which is good for seniors. As such, it's developed something of a stigma in certain circles. And with footage like this in news reports on senior Tai Chi classes, it's no wonder that this particular perception of Tai Chi has spread so far. Another popular media portrayal of Tai Chi is as a very violent martial art used only for fighting in goofy action movies. And while these can be great fun to watch with your friends, that doesn't mean they're painting an accurate picture of Tai Chi Chuan.
Tai Chi is basically a accumulation of the Chinese traditional culture, martial arts, philosophy all come together. So things like you hear people talk about Qigong, in which it's kind of exercise with the breath, with the breathing to promote health. Some people call Tai Chi kind of like a Qigong in motion. So eventually right now we focus not so much on the breathing when we first learn it, so that you can get the movements. And when the movements get to become fluid, then your body starts relaxing into it and you're not so stressed out about thinking about it. And then your breathing becomes flowing into each of the motions so that it becomes more natural and the movements become more fluid. So it's a health practice as well as a martial art.
As soon as we arrived, we realized that the class was actually much more diverse than we'd been expecting.
I thought originally it was going to be a lot of older people, but it turned out that there was kids our age, people middle age. It was pretty diverse.
What do you think about bringing together so many different types of people into your lessons?
I think it's great. Part of what we're trying to do here is to promote the health of everyone using the Chinese philosophies of health, which include within Tai Chi which is drawn a lot from kind of the Taoist theories of health and the energy movement within your body, nourishing your body through movement, through your mind, through what types of food you're putting into your body. There's a lot of different schools of Tai Chi. And with anything, there's always a kind of I'm better, you're better, who's the first one, and stuff like that. But if you just think about Tai Chi as a means of promoting health, and a means of kind of bringing people together, because there's a community aspect where people offer Tai Chi classes all in the parks and everyone just gather. And you know, I'm practicing, but I don't care if people gather and just come and practice with me. You know, and that brings community. So even in China, a lot of people retire early, and they'll go in the mornings and they'll have a large group of people practicing different styles of Tai Chi right next to each other within a park. And it's really awesome to see that.
That was the first, but certainly not the last misconception we had corrected by our experience.
So what would you say to someone who thinks that Tai Chi is easy?
I think Tai Chi is easy in the beginning, but to do it really well, I think takes, for me, it will take years and years and years of practice. And I practice Tai Chi almost every day, because if you don't practice it, you forget what you've learned. But still, when I'm in a lesson, I get a lot of corrections, which I like, but you know, I'm still doing a lot of things wrong.
It's a lot harder than I originally thought it would be. It looks a lot easy because they're moving so slowly, but the hand positions and like where you're supposed to turn is really complicated.
So since it's such a challenge, why is it that so many people are drawn to Tai Chi and keep coming back to lessons? What do they get out of it?
I do it for both physical and mental reasons. I really like the physical balance and strength that it gives you, but I also think it settles your mind and teaches you to look at the world from a different perspective.
A lot of it's just kind of how you feel, you know. Doing Tai Chi is very different than doing your other types of exercise. It's not about how strong you are, although, you know, when you do Tai Chi as a martial aspect, it can be very powerful. It's more about turning things internally, being aware of where your body is. And you'll notice, like, you think you're doing something, but then if you look at yourself in the mirror or you kind of really just start feeling where your body position is, things aren't quite right. You know, and kind of becoming more self-aware of where your body is, the nature of your body, how your body's moving, how you're treating your body, and that's a big aspect.
Master Joe is a great believer that stress is something that causes a lot of illness, and through Tai Chi we diminish the amount of stress that we have. And I'm a big believer in that. I have my own business, and so there is a lot of stress in that, working with other people, and sometimes the other people aren't always as compassionate as one would wish. But Tai Chi has really helped me to sort of stay settled, you know, during stressful times. That's good. I think I've become more patient. And I think I've become more unconditional in the way I look at a lot of things. I think I've become more understanding of Asian thought patterns, which are very different from mine. But just working with Master Joe over time, I've come to see that although he thinks about things differently, sometimes that's really good for me to understand, to look at it a little bit differently.
Yeah. So what do you think, like, Americans who aren't familiar with Tai Chi could gain from it or could learn from it, like from a cultural
I said
aspect?
to two of my friends who are now taking Tai Chi, take Tai Chi, it will change your life. And it has changed their life.